he'll be more. I just know it.
All aboard!
I love you, Mom.
Love you more.
Wait up! I'm coming!
Wow, man. What an amazing film. Jingle Jangle, streaming now on Netflix. DB, do the honors. Who do we have with us again on this show?
Well, she's been a part of some monumental projects in her career. I mean, she starred in several Broadway productions, including A Raisin in the Sun. She played Jukebox on the TV series Power. She starred as Kizzy Waller in the reimagining of Roots. She was the voice of Tiana, the first Black princess in the Disney film The Princess and the Frog, and she was named a Disney legend. Tracy G mentioned that she is a Tony Award winner, and soon we might be calling her an Academy Award winner because her song with Forrest Whitaker, Make It Work, from the Netflix film Jingle Jangle: A Christmas Journey, is on the Oscar shortlist of nominations. Woo-hoo! Welcome her back to the show, Anika Noni Rose.
There it is.
Let's go!
Hey.
Thank you so much.
Hey.
How you doing? How you doing, Anika
You know
Noni
what?
Rose? Yes.
Sometimes great things happen and they don't really settle with you. Like it doesn't really live with you until you hear somebody else say it. And I just got goosebumps. I'm talking about the songs, the short list. It's so beyond. I actually have tears in my eyes. That was pretty amazing. Thank you so much.
Go ahead and go. No, go ahead and cry. Go ahead. It's okay.
You deserve your flowers, girl.
You deserve it. It's amazing. What does that mean exactly? Can you explain what is the short list and for the purpose for those who may not know what that means?
Well, it means that there are many, many, many songs that are in contention for the Oscars for film as best original songs, and they have to. I don't remember how many were submitted this year, but several hundred songs were submitted, and they have to break it down so that people can vote. So it's without having to listen to everything in the world. So they listen. The people choose a shorter list of what has been submitted so that from that short list, Academy Music members listen and then choose which songs are actually going to be nominated. And I think the short list actually, it's 15 right now, and in the next few weeks it gets taken down to 5, I think. I may not be completely sure, but I think it's 5. And then those are the actual nominated songs. So it's a great honor to be shortlisted, and then you just try not to think about it until the nominations come out, because you have no power over it, and it's just really just sitting in the honor that says, out of all of these songs that were submitted, we heard you and we were moved by what you did. And the great John Legend wrote this song, and he is such a prolific and phenomenal writer. So it was already an honor to be working on his music, but this has taken it even farther. So I'm just really grateful.
Yeah, John trying to get another Oscar, Heather. He did that with Glory. I know John can't talk to somebody. I mean, he produced the film. He's a producer on the film. You didn't tap him?
To talk to who?
I
to
don't
talk
know.
to y'all this morning? That ain't my business. John Legend is a very busy man, and I'm sure if somebody said, John, come on and chat with us, he would come. He's a really nice guy, and he's a very easy person. But y'all not going to put his PR on me this morning.
I heard that. You know what? But, hey, listen, you're a legend, too. You're a legend. You're a Disney legend. You know what I mean? You were named a Disney legend, and congratulations on that. That means kids, generationally are going to grow up with not only your voice, but knowing your name and knowing your work. How does that feel to be called a Disney legend?
It's amazing. It truly is amazing. It is not something that I wasn't even aware of it truly until it happened, and so I wouldn't have thought that it was anything that was going to be part of my life. But I tell you what, for children to recognize my voice before they even see my face, and then for Disney to have made Tiana to actually look like me, I guess this morning is a morning talking about feeling just truly, truly honored and really grateful. Mm-hmm. And it's so rare that we in our culture get to be a bona fide part of what we know of as Americana. When you think of the word Americana, you've been taught not to even think of Black folks,
Mm-hmm.
but here we are, and we are a part of that, and this is officially being recognized as such. And so when I'm either teensy and wrinkled or old and gone, she will still be here and still be a representation for all of the children who come behind me, and that is a huge honor, and I'm so truly grateful to have been able to leave that as part of my legacy.
Your voice, boy, your voice is magic. You should, man, you got to do you just got. I love how you were reading to kids too on the bedtime stories for the littles. The thing you were doing on Instagram.
Thank you.
That was really amazing. I'm one of those kids who grew up just like being read to from the time I was 2, 3, 4 years old. And voices stick to your heart for a lifetime. I still remember the guy who read Peter and the Wolf. You know what I mean?
Yes. I am a big proponent of literacy, particularly literacy in children, and I think it's something that we need to make very important. And part of that, before they can read, is reading to them, because it allows them to be a part of, to activate their imagination and to activate their just places in their brain, so that they want to read and so that they want to travel to different places, not just in their minds, but in their bodies. And it really makes for a child who is greedy for experience, and I think that all children deserve to be such. So reading to kids, to me, is a thrilling thing to do. I've gone to my godchild. I went to his school when he was 5, and I read to his classmates, and I have pictures of those kids swarming me after this, like climbing me like a tree. I'm not that tall. They're 5, but they felt like they were climbing somebody. To get on me after this reading, and it's a joyous thing, and I think that it should be given to children as a gift. It should be proposed to them as a gift, and I think so often it's not. It's made to seem as a chore, and it's not a chore. It's a way of escape. It's a way of travel. It's a way of experiencing things in the world you might never experience in your physical self. So during a time of quarantine, if you are a child who can read, you weren't stuck in the house. If you were a child who was read to, you weren't stuck in the house.
Right.
And you had a way to move that was free, because, library always has things available, and you can get now books online as well. So it is not an expensive hobby, but it is a luxurious hobby when you think of the gift that it gives you as a child that you can take into your adult space. I am so grateful that I grew up in a home where I was read to constantly as a young person, and I started reading very early because of it. And we often think that kids aren't ready to. No, they're not ready to read. We'll start them on an ABC block later. Kids are ready to read when their minds are engaged, and you notice that children read younger and younger the more they are read to, and it boosts their mind and their mental capacity. So it's exciting, and I thank you for listening to that and for what you had to say about my voice. I love little kids. I think they're hilarious. And so it really gives me joy to interact with them and to be able to give them something that is gentle but also inspiring. And I don't mean inspiring like, oh, I mean inspiring within themselves to go further, think further, move further, look further, be bigger. And that is something that I consider a gift to be able to give.
Amen.
That's beautiful. That's
Yeah.
beautiful. Come on.
I can totally relate to that. My favorite gift since the first present I ever received was always from my parents, a gift certificate to Barnes & Noble's every birthday,
Yes!
every Christmas, and it was my favorite gift. I didn't care if there was something that was more expensive, more bigger, more prettier. It was the Barnes, because it was a form of escapism, and just like you said,
Yes.
it's so eloquently Growing up for me, I always wanted to kind of be someplace else. And so opening up pages and realizing, oh, shoot, like my brain is a tour guide wherever I want to go. These words, these pictures that are being painted, I feel you on that heavy. In hearing you speak, I think about, there was a podcast episode, this podcast called Unfuck Your Brain. And the host mentioned an actor, I can't recall his name, but he said the worst advice he sees being told to, potential on their way to stardom actors is to just move to LA or move to New York, spend all of your money and just go, and it will happen. And the reason why he says it's bad advice is because it's tricking the person to believe that's the only big step that they'll have to make. Like once they touch down in Hollywood or LA, their big gig is going to come, but you have to continue making sacrifices over sacrifices. And you moved to New York from Connecticut, I believe, and didn't have a job set up. Am I right?
Well, I moved to New York from San Francisco, actually.
Okay.
And I was in grad school in San Francisco. I went to the American Conservatory Theater. And I did not have a job. What I made sure that I had before I moved was an agent. And that's sort of easier said than done. So there was, hard work involved in that, but also some luck involved in that. But after I graduated, I stayed in San Francisco for 2 extra years just to work and sort of hone my skill in an environment where I felt like I could stumble and not get murdered in the press. The last thing you want to do straight out of school is get reviewed by the New York Times and have them kill you before you even really get your land legs. So I stayed for 2 years, and I felt like I was ready to go to New York, but I also felt like, well, why not just take this opportunity to work in a landscape that appreciates what I do? People already know my name. They are likely to allow me into the door to attempt to do the things that I want to do. It was a friendly environment, but it wasn't a coddling environment. I got some really great reviews while I was there. I actually was reviewed by the Wall Street Journal before I left San Francisco because I did Three Penny Opera there. But I also got a horrific review while I was there. So that same great review, somebody else gave me a horrible review, which I'll never forget. And it was hilarious in retrospect. But while the Wall Street Journal was saying I was amazing, this other paper was saying I was, what did they say? Distressingly miscast. I caused somebody distress. So I was like, oh, distress. That's mental anguish. So I was able to do that. And, I let that, well, I say I let it go, but I remember that thing, don't I? I let it go. It didn't break my heart. I had enough other reviews that were really positive and strong and supportive to not let that, bruise my heart for life. But I will never forget it because I think it's important to remember those things as well. And so I actually got my agent while I was doing a show there. An agent who was representing somebody else came to our show and wanted to have a meeting with me. And I was like, yeah, great. So we have a meeting, and I'm not really ready to move anywhere yet. And a couple years later, I said, all right, well, it's time. I'm ready. And they were ready for me. I was lucky to have an agent to move to New York. But I didn't work for, somebody's going to laugh who is in this business, but I didn't work for like 3 months when I got to New York. And in the scheme of things, that is nothing for an actor. For me, it was a big deal because I had never not worked. I didn't know what it was not to work. So I was there. I was on my last unemployment check, and that's how you survive as somebody who goes from gig to gig. If you're a gig worker, once your job is finished, you get unemployment because then your job is to find another job. So while you're looking for another job, you're on unemployment, so you can also eat and ride the subway or get gas or whatever you need to do. So I had one more unemployment check before didn't know what I was going to do, and I booked a gig, and that was I was a replacement for an actor in Footloose on Broadway, and that was sort of amazing that was my first big job in New York City, and I never looked back. I knew that I wanted to be on stage. I knew that I wanted to do Broadway, and I'm lucky enough to be able to do both straight plays and musicals. That's really a gift because it allows me a wider swath of things that I'm able to do. And as a Black person on stage, there are just so fewer straight plays for you to be able to do that if you are not somebody who is able to sing and dance, then you have a lot less work available for you. So I'm really grateful that I trained myself. And so that goes back to what you were saying about just arriving somewhere. I think a lot of people, and I think it's because of the time we live in and what I really call the Americanization of what we do. We watch American Idol and it looks like things are so easy. All I have to do is, audition for this show, and then my life is going to be great because I'm going to win and I'm going to do it, and we take that thought pattern to other things in our life. When we watch The Voice and you get some background on these people, a lot of these people have been singing for years and doing other things before they get to The Voice. What it is important not to forget is that training is important. Training yourself for the thing that you want to do is important. I could have gone to New York years before. I had a bachelor's. I could have not gone to school at all and gone to New York. But as a contender, where would I have sat in that pool of people? New York has some of the most talented people in the world there trying to get seen, trying to get heard. If you don't come with something that is a skill set that you can hold on to as opposed to just, well, I was good at home. Well, I'm cute. Well, my pastor said, I can really do this. You got to come with
Not the pastor.
You got to come with a tool set, and you have to come with a craft so that you have something to lean on and something to bolster you. And you have to know how you fit in and how you stand out, because both of those things are going to be tools for you, because there is always somebody better. There's always somebody cuter. There's always somebody who sings higher or lower or stronger or softer. How do you fit in? How do you stand out? And how have you trained yourself so that you know this thing that you are doing inside and out? And I tell, new performers or people who want to be performers this all the time. I don't care how cute you are. Somebody there is cuter than you. This is about a craft. If you want to be here for the duration, you can light a fire, you can light a match, and it'll burn real bright before it burns out. I'm here for the duration. It's the marathon and not the sprint. And so for me, it is about training and growing. I feel like I'm still learning. I'm still learning with every piece that I do. And I'm hopefully still growing with every job that I choose or every job that chooses me. And this is not about arrogance. This is about having a plan, making a plan that can work for you, and that allows you to work on you. And that's the only way, I think, to sustain in this business, to be perfectly honest.
Mm-hmm.
That voice, man, you can answer a question as long as you want to. I promise you. You could just keep going. I want to go to your lecture halls. Anika Noni Rose is here, man. I just want to hear you speak. Kendra's on the line from Louisiana. Grand Risings, Kendra.
Hey, Kendra.
Hey, y'all. How y'all doing? Good morning. Good morning.
Hey.
Good morning.
I just wanted to say what such an amazing job Miss Anika is doing in the industry. As a Louisiana, I just was telling a guy, I'm 34, about to be 35, 34 years old, And every time I see Princess and the Frog, I get so happy. And my little 8-year-old little girl, yes, and she laughs at me like, Mama, like, look, your movie coming on. I'll be like, but no, that's for you and me. Because, she the 8-year-old. But I'm really excited because I love the theme New Orleans, like how y'all did it in New Orleans. And I'm 2.5 hours away from there. Everybody come here to really go to New Orleans. So that I just wanted to say, continue to do your thing in the industry, and God bless you, you and your family.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so very much, and thank you for calling in. I hope your family as well. We know how COVID hit New Orleans. It hit it real hard, and you didn't get the care that I think that the city deserves. So I wish you and your family much health and prosperity in that space.
Okay.
I love New Orleans. I I think New Orleans, well, it's definitely one of my favorite cities, and to me, it feels like a second home. I'm a New Englander by birth, and New York is my stomping ground, but I feel so, I don't know, nourished when I'm in New Orleans. I feel like it is such a pot of culture, and a culture that is steeped in Blackness and what Blackness meant to America, which really means, that we talk about America as a melting pot, but New Orleans really is a melting pot. Like, all the cultures you could want to talk about are right there in New Orleans. They all related. They all, cooking in the same pot. And I have been shown so much love when I am down there. And it's so funny because I don't go to New Orleans with my tiara on. I don't need to have a tiara. I'm walking down the street. I'm usually not really cute because it's hot. So I'm trying to be comfortable. It's a sneaker or a sandal and like something that doesn't touch me. I want clothes that feel like they're not touching me when I'm in New Orleans. And I have been recognized, honestly, from a float. I was at the Bayou Classic, and I was standing on the side of the road. I had sunglasses on. My hair was pulled back. Like, I didn't look like nobody's nothing. I didn't have no makeup on. And from the float, this girl points at me and says, Princess Tiana, and, like, throws some beads. And I was mind blown. But the amount of love and care that New Orleans gives to people when they come, the amount of eating that I can do in New Orleans, I love to eat. So I eat sun up to sun. I walk and eat. What you do in New Orleans, I walk and I eat. I love being there. The art there is beautiful, the visual art and the music. The fact that you can walk down the street and have a party come to you, like, there's nothing better than that. I love that city. So I thank you for calling in, and I want to thank New Orleans in general for the amount of love and care that they have given me and the acceptance that they have shown me, because I love you like family.
That's beautiful.
Kendra, you're a citizen, Kendra.
A Sway in the morning, New Orleans, stand up.
In that beautiful daughter of yours, if I don't let DB get in and ask you a question, he's not going to be my friend. So DB is our movie junkie. Go ahead.
Is Kendra gone, first of all? Kendra, you gone?
Kendra's gone. She's out of there, but she can hear you.
I didn't get to. I just should have asked her baby's name. Kendra, I'm so sorry I didn't ask you this, but tell your princess that I love her and I send her a big, big hug. Now tell me about BB, Sway. Sorry.
BB is our movie junkie, and I'll let him ask the last question because I know you have other stuff you have to do. But DB, go for it.
All right, I'll try to make this quick, but Anika, so obviously we all know the Golden Globes was this past weekend, and there was a little bit of controversy about the Hollywood Foreign Press, which is the voting panel that decides on the awards that are handed out.
You are breaking up, and I can't hear you well. I heard controversy. Somebody gonna be like, she can hear you. All I heard was controversy and a panel.
Okay, I was talking about the Golden Globes. Can you hear me better now?
No, you sound like a rubber band. Can you hear me clearly?
We can hear you clearly.
Is anybody else hearing me clearly?
I can hear you.
I can hear you too.
Let me. I know. DB, I'm gonna say what I think you're gonna ask, and then you can tell me if I'm incorrect. Okay.
I can hear you better, Sway.
Okay, so there was the controversy was about the HFPA and who are the organizers of the Golden Globe, and the controversies around the lack of diversity within their voting panel. So they had 87 journalists, none of which are black. All right, and they pledged to make changes, but this is kind of, I think it's embarrassing that in this day and age that this still lack of diversity happens. DB, what is your question about it?
Well, basically, because to those who may not know, there's different organizations and voters in these award ceremonies. Like, I'm a part of the Critics' Choice membership, and then there's the Hollywood Foreign Press that does the Golden Globes, Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences that do the Oscars. So why is it that we have to wait until someone points out that there's something wrong behind the scenes with these voting panels until they actually admit, like, okay, well, we're going to work better to diversify our organization and try to make it more fair for those that are nominated?
Well, you know why. Because people are comfortable. Why would people change if they don't have to change? People are comfortable in the space that they're in. And I don't even think it's a controversy. I think it's a shame. And the issue is, I posted about it, but I was sort of short with the post because sometimes I get tired. But nobody wants you to grab some random black person off the street and give them a position in the Hollywood Foreign Press. That's not what people are saying. We are saying that around the world, there are people, black folks around the world in all different countries, even though folks like to pretend that we only live in the South of America and the continent of Africa. We're everywhere. And yet we manage to not be represented. That can only be an active choice in 2021. There are people, for example, like Baz Bamigboye, who is out of Britain. I don't know if he wants to be a member of the Hollywood Foreign Press, but he is a bona fide critic of the arts and has been doing so for many, many years. If I know who this person is, they know who this person is. So I think that the question of why does it have to be this way is because people aren't shamed until you shame them. And sometimes not even then. But the fact that it is being heard is very important. And my only desire is that there is not some hard scrabble and then they're just throwing in, well, my cousin so-and-so who was adopted on my aunt's side is black and they like to talk about movies online. Let's put them in. You know what I mean? I want them to find people for whom they do this. They know what they're doing. They're bona fide critics, and give them the credit they deserve for having done so, and welcome them to the application process. That's not that difficult, I don't think. And, if you've read the articles in the LA Times, the HFPA has been having issues for years. But it's not everybody in the HFPA. I've met some really lovely members of the HFPA, and I know that there are people involved in there who want change to happen. But it's about it's hard to look at yourself, and to see something that's not right or that could be better. I know I've been doing it all of quarantine. That's what I did. I sat in the house and I looked at myself and I said, I don't like this about myself. How can I fix it? That's a difficult thing to do. But now it's time to do it. It's past time to do it. And that's sort of a long answer for what should really be, it's time to do it.
Yeah. Hey, but we love your voice, so take your time. You can answer as long as you want to. Okay.
Facts. You know what? Sway, she doesn't need a job as a radio host either. It's just like, yeah, Anika, up next she'll be delivering, sports and celebrity news and, breaking down politics. Damn, Sway.
Hey, man, you know how this acting thing good. You could be hot today and not tomorrow. If you ever need a job, come see me.
Right.
Okay?
I might need to say something on the air.
Okay. Anika Noni Rose, round of applause. Thank you for
Yes.
being on the show.
We love you.
Excellent
Thank
conversation.
you so much.
Absolutely. And you guys check out Jingle Jangle, streaming now on Netflix.
It's so good.
And whatever you do next, come talk to us, okay?
You all are always so warm and welcoming to me. I appreciate you so much, and I appreciate the platform that you give us on the daily. So thank you. Thank you. Have a great
Absolutely.
day.
And you know you're a citizen. Come on now.
That's why in the morning.
All right.
Hey.
All right. Have a great day, okay?
You too. Bye.
Thank-